Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we'll have a talk about a Linux project, such as a Linux distribution, a desktop environment application. We also chat about news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that's Linux tech and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. Although this says SUSE, I like the OpenSUSE project. It's actually caused me to purchase SUSE products in the enterprise space. But anyway, how is everybody tonight?
Excellent.
Fantastic. We have a new name here, Trem. I don't know if maybe Trem is just listening, but you're welcome to join the conversation at any point in time. Don't know if your mic works yet, but hey, we're here. Swift. Oh, I got the heart. Oh, see? You are absolutely welcome. I'll take the heart as a thanks. Anyway, we have Swift, Jinda, Trem, Terry loves MX Linux. I didn't know Terry changed his name, but here we are. Michael and Ben.
Yo.
How is everybody?
Excellent. Dang it.
Doing great as always.
So be sure to do the straw poll if you have not done so yet. Check out that straw poll. Also, we did pass the 1,000 subscriber mark, so that was exciting.
Oh, I feel so honored. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
That is.
I didn't, yeah. I mean, it only took, 150 episodes, 2 years-ish, a little over 2 years to get that. So at this rate, we just may hit 10,000 sometime before I quit doing this.
Nate, if you quit, the show will crumble, man.
Or, someone like, or what could happen is somebody like Jinda could take over and it would do way better.
Oh God, he take over.
I don't think that would happen. And I don't think I say much.
Oh.
Well, maybe the problem is, Jinda, I say
yeah.
too much and I'm crowding you out. That could be the problem.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say that's 100% wrong. But I'm willing to try harder.
Okay, well, let's agree to disagree on that one. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well.
So on the docket for today, we've got a straw poll coming up about Bazzite Linux. We're going to talk about Bazzite Linux, go over some of the rules there,
Yeah.
do some housekeeping. If there's some time, do some news or any open discussion. Do a community free pour with Michael, and then do our last call. But first, what I'm doing in Linux and tech, and I want to talk about something very exciting that I actually got going today. This is something I've been like, I don't know, chewing the cud on for quite a while. I'm not sure if I'm the only person to chew on the cud like that. But anyway, there's a has anybody ever used eGPUs, external GPU enclosures on Thunderbolt docks?
No.
That. So I bit the bullet. And I bought one, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work in Linux, and I had a little bit of trouble getting it going.
Quick question, Nate. How much did that cost you?
So I already had the GPU. I bought. Now, I had a couple of gift cards that Cruz came in, and then he hopped out. Maybe didn't like my face. I don't know. So it was about $160 for the GPU dock thing, and then it was another 50-ish for the power supply that I got. Now, I could have gone a little bit cheaper on there, but a coworker of mine said I should go with the RGB, so I did on the power supply because, why not? Have a little fun, right? I know that Wendy, my co-host on Linux Out Loud, Wendy loves RGB. It's her favorite. She calls it RGB vomit. She loves it so much. And so that is why I got it, because I knew that Wendy would just be absolutely all over that. Anyway. So I got this eGPU. It's kind of an open frame one, so there's no box around it. It's just open, and which is what I wanted because I don't know. I kind of like that, Doc Brownish, industrial kind of slapped together look. It's kind of my thing, and put it all together. And then initially, I plugged it in, and it didn't really it didn't do anything. I just kind of got these timeout on Thunderbolt, whatever, and it didn't do anything. And so I kind of messed a little bit, and then I swapped. First, I had an Nvidia card in there. Then I put the AMD card in there. Then I put back the Nvidia card, and it just wasn't happening. And then my son comes by and he says, "Well, you didn't plug in the PCI on top of it." I said, "Well, I had it plugged in, And so anyway, so I shut it off, plugged it in, and then it worked. Like it just popped right up with the Nouveau drivers, and it worked. Like the Nvidia card worked. And so then I tried installing the proprietary Nvidia drivers, and I use Wayland. I don't use X. I have to use Wayland because of the way my screens are, and the fractional scaling is absolutely required. And I had terrible frame rate. The 2060 only gave me 30 FPS, and I did some reading. Apparently, there's an issue with the way Nvidia handles certain things, so it wasn't working properly. And so Wendy says, okay, so she's being humble here. She says, well, I don't know about loving it, referring to RGB. So, and a laugh. So I think she means that she likes it. I don't know. Anyway, so
I mean, I think that means she really loves it, since she's not in here to defend herself.
yeah, that's true. She really loves it. Her life is nothing but an RGB rave dance party on her computer. Anyway, I only got 30 FPS, and I read there's some issue with Wayland and the way it does the frame buffering copy stuff, that it has like some loss of efficiency in Nvidia. I don't know. I didn't really fully understand it, the technical side of it, but from a practical side, it meant I got half my frame rate, so 30 FPS, pretty reliably 30. So that was not good for me, and I ended up popping the AMD card back in. Worked just fine, even though it didn't work earlier. Don't know what I did wrong. Anyway, it's working, and it worked flawlessly. Everything popped up.
Oh.
So I plugged in, I plugged in one monitor just for testing. Monitor came up. What was interesting, a little aside. So I had run that monitor before using DisplayLink, and then Plasma remembered it. So it must remember the number. There's some ID information, like maybe it's UUID or something. It actually remembered that specific screen and where I had it previously with DisplayLink. So I plugged it in through the GPU on the external GPU on the Thunderbolt, and it remembered where I had that monitor before and put it right there. So that was pretty impressive. And then I added the another screen, actually my TV. So I strung like a HDMI cable across my room just to test it out. That also worked. And then doing a little digging, a little research, I should be able to run at least what I want. I want to run 3 1440p monitors off of it. One like ultra wide, not just ultra wide, but the ultra wide, and then a couple of just widescreen 69 ratio screens below it. And according to the numbers, I should be able to do it. The Thunderbolt should, I guess there's a Thunderbolt penalty of like 2 to 5%. I don't know if anybody knew that. So versus straight PCI. So there's a little bit of penalty there. That's okay. I can deal with that. The most taxing game I think I play right now might be Minecraft. And since I can do that on DisplayLink displays, I think it'll do just fine. But anyway, just so it's really cool. I just have an AMD Radeon RX 570 series. So nothing special, but it's great. I'm pretty impressed, and I think I had a successful, successful shot at using eGPU on Tumbleweed, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, on my framework 13. So I think my ultimate intent, which I think I talked about it on Linux Out Loud, was to redo my screen layout because it was a live show. And I want to basically do something like this, where I have this ultra wide here, a couple wide, and then my laptop and my other like portable monitor above it, which I may or may not keep on it next to that, so I can do that, and also kind of raise it up, get stuff off my desk, kind of reclaim some of my desktop space too. So Valerie. Oops, clicked on the wrong thing. Valerie says Thunderbolt penalty can be very high, upwards of 30% for Thunderbolt 3 versus just being plugged into PCIe slot. But it really depends on the task. Yeah, I know. I mean, it could be 30%. So because my GPU I'm using does not have. So Thunderbolt has it's a max theoretical of 40 gigabits per second. There's some overhead in there, which drops it down to about 32 gigabits per second. And then you have, but then there's some other kind of compression. I cannot remember what the acronym was. A three-letter acronym for some sort of compression that Thunderbolt can use, and that can basically extend it beyond the 32 gigabit limitation because of the compression routines, and that's where you get the 3 to 5% according to what I read. But that some of that is CPU dependent, so it depends largely on, from my understanding, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times. It depends upon how powerful your graphics card is and where your bottleneck ends up being. So if your graphics card is so powerful that the bottleneck is the Thunderbolt, then yes, you'll get the greater percentage of degradation due to Thunderbolt. But because I'm using an RX 570 where Thunderbolt actually can do faster than that card can render, I should only have a 3 to 5% through Thunderbolt. But it's very hardware dependent. I think it depends on a lot of factors. And again, I could be wrong. It's just what I researched. And so, your mileage may vary. I'm not really going to push it very hard. I don't do any AAA gaming. I don't know. I think maybe I've played Fortnite, but that's not my game of choice. And I just play it in, so 570 will probably be pretty much native. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, no, I'm not going to spend a lot of money. I'm so cheap. When I drop a penny, I go down, I bend over to pick it up. It usually hits me in the back of the head. That's how cheap I am. Yeah, so I think the 6700 XT. Yeah, I think that's one of the card's like around $300 to $500, somewhere in that range, and that would do. Yeah, you would. Thunderbolt could not, even Thunderbolt 4 could not push enough data down the Thunderbolt to meet what that is able to do. So I think. I can't remember what the equivalency is, the PCI version and a number of lanes. I don't recall that. I should have written it down for this purpose, but I didn't. So anyway, pretty cool. It does work in Linux. I'm very happy with it. It says you had have too much trouble getting used to the third-person view on Fortnite, according to Ben's Tech Room. Yes, I find it distracting because like you see the person running. Maybe that, and then I know what the purposes of skins are. I prefer the Doom or Heretic style of doing first-person shooters. So, for what it's worth, that's what I prefer. I mean, maybe third-person view is better. I don't know. I can see an argument for it. That's a good question. So those that are here that play first-person shooters, or whatever you want to call them. Do you prefer the first person or third person view? I mean, like, it's hard to sell skins for your dude and make money off of that if you have it in first person. So I understand I understand the financial incentives, but I don't know.
I don't think I ever cared which one it was. I just kind of, if I like the game, I like the game,
Yeah. I know, like, when I play Minecraft, I do first person, but third person is an option. Yeah, so I think Bwarch, BW Arch, I don't know. Some people like, he says, some people like third person better. Some people like first person, just preference of the game and development and angle. Yeah. So, yeah. That's the truth. So there's this pop-up. Ben's Tech Room says here, same first person to me feels better with a mouse and keyboard. Third person can work on a PlayStation. Yeah, I guess he's that. And Bart says, Minecraft is funny that way, being able to be played both ways. Some nutty people play entirely in third person. See? So that's nutty. But maybe, I don't know. I can say, maybe it's just the game. And then Ash. So there's someone, Ash is entering the room. I don't know who Ash is, but as long as we keep it family friendly, we're good to go. Welcome, Ash. All right, and then Ben, you said you wanted to share a quick little tidbit. Or not? I don't know.
Okay. Yes.
Just a quick little teaser.
Yeah, this will be quick, but this is a distro update. My distro is no longer known as StormOS. It's known as Accretion Storm now, and there's a good story behind that rabbit hole, actually. My team and I spoke about it, and we were approached by the AcreetionOS team recently, a couple weeks ago, and I spoke to him on the behalf of my team because I did DM them on Discord about it. But either way, we all agreed, and we're now helping out the Accretion team, and we're helping each other out. And they were looking at the time. They were looking to add an XFCE addition to their ongoing list of stuff that they offer, and they are looking, to gain popularity and all that sort of thing. And we have a weekly podcast on Sundays at 3 Pacific time, 6 my time, and they're looking to gain some love and get the word out, and so I offered to join their team, and we have, and I gave them an XFCE edition out of StormOS, so I figured why not help them out, and we were going for the same goal together, so I said, what the heck, we're gonna I figured why not join forces versus try and sell the same product. So we made that agreement, and that's where that went, and that's sort of where we're at with that. And like I told you in the pre-show, Nate, I've been testing it, and the XFCE version, that is, and all's good. So and hopefully this version the XFCE version is the one that I would like to see at some point on Linux Saloon, and I was gonna suggest that for the next distro thing. But either way, they also have a KDE edition, and Cinnamon is the main flagship and all that. So there's also community editions, and what's funny? Actually, one of them is gonna be Hyperland, actually, too. So yeah, there's a couple editions out there to choose from, and I just wanted to give it a quick plug, so. So yeah,
Cool.
that's what's been going on with me this past few weeks, is been migrating to Accretion, man. So
Well, neat.
yes, and hopefully, like I said, we can get it on the Saloon very soon. So,
Yeah, I think
but
we're
yeah.
we can put it in the
suggestion box.
put it in the vote. So give everyone a chance
Cool,
to
cool. And
so we-
I'm gonna link the website in the Telegram real quick too.
Excellent.
There you go.
Well, excellent.
Also, I don't know if I told you guys about this, but I got a new keyboard and mouse set. And,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. Now, I don't know if you guys have been hearing it, but that's the keyboard noise that I have been trying to mask this whole show. Either way, on with the program.
Well, alrighty. On that, we're going to go on to the straw poll. So if you have not yet done the straw poll, please do so. I think the link has probably been in the... I'm sure Jinder will put it in the...
I'm getting there. I'm sorry. I'm slow. This is what
That's all right.
happens when you get fat and old.
This is true. This does happen.
Yeah.
We all get old and try and keep, some of the, I don't know, something off. Anyway, so the straw poll was, what best describes your experience with Bazzite? And so some of the replies, just a second here. One is, I didn't install Bazzite for this, but I had it and Aurora, installed it for a month, and overall had a not so good time with it. It really depends on the best experience I had was an extremely buggy experience on the Nvidia. Wait, I read that wrong. It really depends. There we go. The best experience I had was an extremely buggy experience on the Nvidia image where it would get flash banged. When I would get flash banged, and often it has corrupt or broken graphics. Maybe other people had a better time. I'm unsure. My automatic updates did not work across the machines either. I did determine something in Flatpak GitHub Atomic Updates infrastructure. It's not close to me, and so updates were extremely slow. As a result, for those who would like context, a traditional distro, I use both Mint, Debian, and Fedora proper as a test, could do a week's worth of updates in less than 10 minutes. Bazzite was taking in excess of 45 minutes and would sometimes fail for no reason. So I don't know. Obviously, take my experience with a grain of salt. So that's one. Another one, Bazzite has been my daily driver for a while. At least one major Fedora version. I've enjoyed my time with it tremendously. And another, I played around with it. I hate the name of it. Okay. I wonder why the name hate.
Who knows?
Who knows? All right. So I guess look at the results. And so let me hit refresh. So the number one response is it's amazing. Number two response is I don't have enough time. Busy with work, busy with life. At 25%. So top was 37.5. Number two is 25%. Number three at 12.5% is not interested in this exploration. Number four is did not have a good time with it. And then tied with fourth is Tux Penguin. And then an other and an it's okay. So I guess that means I guess it's a mix then, I suppose. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and does anybody have any thoughts or comments on any of that?
Not really. No.
No. Okay. It's all good. Yeah, I said it was amazing, but I installed it on a Steam Deck. So I wonder if it depends. It's probably heavily hardware dependent as to how well it works and on what. It would have been fun to put, I think, on a non-Steam Deck handheld, like it's not called a Ready Player One, but like a 1X player or one Ready 1X.
One of the Lenovo's.
Whatever. Yeah, one of those. That's a Legion Go.
So,
Yeah.
in my experience, Wayland is very hardware dependent, especially on the Nvidia side.
Yeah.
I have had, I was on this machine I have right now. I'm running a Nvidia 3070, I think. I can't remember. I'm actually looking to upgrade to an AMD 9070 because I want to start running Wayland stuff, and it's just so hit and miss on Nvidia. I had Hyperland working very well, except the lock screen would crash pretty consistently for me. And so everything else kind of worked, and I was actually pretty happy. And then it just, I think an update maybe hit, and the lock screen just kept crashing on me, and that was the end of using that for now. On my laptop, I had the unfortunate experience of trying to deal with that today a little bit with some updates. I had Cosmic running fairly well, the alpha, but I think I let it get too long away from updates. So yeah, I mean, it's very dependent on the Nvidia side. I have been running Bazzite for, I don't even know how long now, at least 6 months on an HD PC under my TV. But it's running an AMD card. It has ran very well. The only thing that I have not got to work with it is that there is a Steam Deck, or rather, there is a SteamOS dev kit service that you can upload your game to the system and have it accessible through Steam.
Oh.
So when I'm testing out the game that I'm working on, I could easily load it into my Steam Deck with just, opening a little Python app on your computer and uploading it that way. But with Bazzite, that was not possible. I just was checking a thread I created over in the Universal Blue Discord, and it looks like somebody found a workaround that I'm gonna have to try here at some point. I also talked to them a little bit at one point about like what a game developer might need, and it's just one of those things where people need so many different things that it would be a bit tougher, I think, to get all to work because I don't know how much of things are available through OS tree. So that to me is kind of a downside of Bazzite is that you do have to deal with either a flat pack or OS tree, one of the two, and you're kind of limited in that way. If it's not available that way, then you're kind of hosed when it comes to that, or you have to do some other stuff and really like you're kind of getting away from the entire point of Bazzite at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to go through DistroBox or something like that, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean, overall, it's like I find it a really, really intriguing thing. I think it's an awesome thing for an HTCC. I wish that Wayland Nvidia would cooperate a bit more because I know for a while there they didn't even really recommend Bazzite for it because it's not, you can't really do the SteamOS big picture mode thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of where these cloud native or whatever you want to call them distros go because I do think that like one of my systems, a dev system would be really good on that. I just don't think I've quite found the right answer yet. I keep hoping that like Blend OS or something will be ready for what I want at some point.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's definitely some inherent difficulties with using these like atomic or immutable distributions or immutable like distributions for sure. I don't know what the right answer is long term. I think it's totally like individual dependent. I think, but that's entirely me. So I got some fun comments in the peanut gallery, or I mean YouTube stream. It says Valor says I don't know why some people hate the name so much. It's just a rock. Yeah. And then let's see. Ben says containers are the future for desktop apps. Immutable is the future. It's just not there yet. And then Runner3 says Brew is really good for CLI apps. Is that Mac? Brew? I don't know.
Homebrew you can use Homebrew in Mix. I have Odin installed on Homebrew on my machine right now.
Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. Oh, then also Valerie says I have Bazzite on my Lenovo Legion Go, so that's something too. And a wild prophetic has appeared. Oh, also Valerie says Bluefin is a non-gaming sister project of Bazzite, so that's good to know too. All right. Well, I guess let's get onto the actual distribution exploration.
One of the Universal Blue team members is in the chat.
Oh, really? Who's that?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how you pronounce his name. I can't remember if it's George. I think it's George, but I can't remember if he
George
goes.
Castro?
Yes.
Oh, he says containers can source from anywhere. Whatever people think they want in Bazzite GDX will be up to the people who contribute. Also says so more of a product problem. It's not a technical problem. Gotcha. Well, that's good to know. Ooh,
Yeah,
and Philip says the father of Bluefin is here in the chat. That's exciting. In my mind, he has a beard and he looks very wise, just because. But I don't know. That's just in my mind. That's what I imagine. Someone who wears, very distinguished clothing.
And if you're not familiar with the idea of Universal Blue and all of these systems, by the way, I would encourage you to go look up George's interviews. He has a couple. I know he has one with Brody Robertson with Tech Over Tea. I would encourage you to listen to them and just kind of understand a bit about where he's coming from and kind of the ideas that they're putting in to try to automate things as much as possible. Because it's a really interesting thing to me. Like I say, I personally think it's gonna be the answer, at least for one of my machines in the future. I don't know if it's quite yet, but every time I kind of look at it, I find that it's closer and closer to what I personally need. And like I say, Bazzite has been running really well for me on the HTPC, and they may have found a workaround for the issue I was having anyway. So, awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a little bit. Let me just get into the exploration rules, just so make sure the ground rule is set. I'll get to you in just a moment, Ash, I promise. But the intent is to talk about the different aspects of the operating system and discuss the experience from using it. This is a discussion that by which should be objective and constructive, not objective opinions like this is garbage, is not helpful, but rather if you say things like, yeah, I wish it had a specific feature, or that it would allow me to do, X, Y, or Z. Those are all benefiting the conversation, but I don't want to but that's what we're looking for. So the point is to highlight the positives, but not to ignore the lowlights of the project. Because remember, this is a labor of love for some, so let's not poo-poo on it. In fact, we have the father here, so don't poo-poo on this child, because nobody likes that. That's a father. So a little bit about Bazzite. I got a just kind of a quick synopsis. So Bazzite, it's a custom Fedora Atomic image built with cloud-native technology designed to bring the best of Linux gaming to all your devices, from desktops and laptops, which I noticed they had framework on there, to handhelds like the Steam Deck. Its mission is to deliver a stable gaming-optimized experience out of the box inspired by SteamOS while offering broader hardware support and modern features. Bazzite leverages Fedora's Atomic updates for reliability, pre-installs essential gaming tools like Steam and Lutris, and enhance the experience with features like HDR, NVK for non-Nvidia builds, and Waydroid for Android apps. I didn't try the Waydroid thing, and I regret that now. Whether you're gaming with a handheld, a home theater PC, or a productivity setup like mine, Bazzite aims to make Linux gaming seamless and accessible for everyone. So that is a little bit about it. If I missed something on there, I thought that was hopefully I didn't. Kind of hits it. So the installation process. Who actually installed it here? Ash, did you install it? I know you had your hand raised. Not sure if you want to pop in and pipe in your thoughts, but feel free to chat away. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just kind of interject.
Okay, so hello, Nate. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so I have nothing to do with installation. I'm just here to introduce myself because I'm pretty new to all of what is being discussed.
Oh, good.
I'm from Jamaica. I was introduced to this by Terrence, or on this platform, he goes by the name Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
And
I'm
so you know
here
Cruise
sticking
too?
around. No, I don't know Cruise, but I've
Oh,
heard
okay.
about Cruise, right? And
Cruise
I've
is
heard
pretty
about you
swell.
too.
Oh, good. Hopefully it's all the truth and it was good. In that order. Because if it was bad and if it's the truth and it's bad, that's unfortunate.
Hey, of course it was good.
Oh, well, if it's for you, Terry, then you're probably fibbing just a little bit, saying nice things about me.
Always say something nice.
If you can't say anything nice, shut your mouth.
Right. That's right.
That's what I was told anyway. Well, all right. Well, welcome, Ash. I'm really glad you're here. Feel free to be a part of the conversation any way that you like, any way that you're comfortable. It's awesome. I think it's good to have more faces, more voices, whatever, more people. It's nice.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you are most welcome, and thank you for being here. So a little bit about my experience. I guess I'll just kick it off with mine. So I installed it on the Steam Deck. And I don't want to wipe away the Steam Deck, like the OS on the NVMe. So I actually installed it on the SD card. So I realized that's going to hamper some of the performance, but I did it anyway. And I have to say, this was, with no exaggeration whatsoever, the absolute easiest Linux installation I've ever had in my entire life. In fact, I would go so far as to say it was the easiest operating system installation I've ever had in my entire life. Like I've installed macOS or even reinstalled macOS doing the macOS crazy way that you got to do things. This is easier to install Bazzite on a Steam Deck. And I was blown away by just how easy it was. You just had to go through. I mean, it had like a little bit of the Fedora thing, like to specify which, I think your time zone, I think it was on there, and then specify like where you wanted to actually install it to, like what disk. So I selected the SD card, and so now I have a Bazzite SD card specific for the Steam Deck, and it was was just absolutely impressive just how easy it was. I was like, that's it? I was like, that's it? Anyway, so I put on my Steam information, my Valve, whatever, my Steam account, and was up and running, downloaded some games, played some games, and I mean, unless if somebody told me that I was running Bazzite or I was watching it boot up and not SteamOS, I would have had no idea whatsoever. So I have no idea how you did that, because you still had like updates came down. I don't know how those other updates like work, in SteamOS. I don't know if it's, I'm not sure of the particulars of that. Like when the SteamOS update or whatever, or Steam update in the settings, but those all came through no problem. It rebooted, came back up, and it was fine. So Valor says, no, not an SD card install. Yeah, but I don't want to blow it away. So this is just an aside. I mean, I'll wait for that for later. I'll bring that later. The reason I didn't blow away the SteamOS installation is because I got like a bunch of saved information on there. I didn't want to like take it off, and then my kids use it all the time. Everything tons of stuff is downloaded on there, and so I didn't want to have to like rebuild something. That's the only reason why. But yeah, it was great. The installation process was just so great. Anyway, did anybody else have any a similar experience, or am I an outlier here?
I don't know. I just installed it and it worked fine. I didn't have any issues with it whatsoever.
So
But it only took a couple of clicks, so
yeah, really take all the nerd work out of it. That's for sure.
yeah, it kind of did.
And I like the selection process. You can select your device to download it. I think that's probably what we're going to see like in the future as well, probably for a lot of things. Anyway, so that was it was cool. Did you play any games using it?
Not a one.
Okay. Not even a free one?
Nothing. I'm more into retro games than I am modern games. But there was no retro game stuff here really at all.
Well, so if you like, I have RetroArch on.
Yeah, I would have to install it, but
Yeah, that's what I installed. I just installed the Steam version so I could
right.
transfer things over.
But I
Delphin
did
says.
notice. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. You did notice what?
I did notice that, like you said, WageWorld was already installed, which I was surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
Box Buddy was already installed too,
Oh, that's cool.
which I was surprised by that too. And then like RetroArch or any of the other, like any kind of emulators for that wasn't installed. There was no information for that. But
So
once again, it is really nice. It's a really nice operating system.
I guess you could install the Flatpak on that to make that work.
Yeah.
So Delafin says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening.
So
What'd you say, Michael?
I recall the install being a bit more involved than I was expecting, but this was many months ago, and I was doing it on a TV. So it would probably be a lot simpler on a Steam Deck. But
I'm sorry. Can you stop down there for just 1 second? You did it on a TV?
yeah, because it's an HTPC.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe like you installed it like on like a Samsung TV, like wiped out the operating system.
No,
Now, if
it's
you get Bazzite like to wipe out a smart TV's operating system, that's what I'm going to go for.
that would be that would be
So,
interesting. I wish, but no, I was doing it on HTPC, so it was a little less than ideal to try to have a keyboard and mouse hooked up to it, but I got it done. The nice thing that I think you're kind of missing when it comes to the emulation is I think you get pretty easy access to Decky and EmuDeck on Bazzite. Yeah. So that might be something to look into a little bit more, because then you can have your emulation stuff in Steam kind of showing up as games. So
Right.
And then there's some cool things in the Decky loader stuff too. It's just kind of nice to have that all easy to install within Bazzite.
Okay. I guess so. You've obviously been using this longer than I have. Did you so you installed it on a home theater PC? Does it come up with the Steam UI, or how does it start up then?
I mean, it depends on what you pick when you when you download it. Since it's an AMD card, I just went with the Steam one and just let it come up with Steam UI.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's been running on there for, like I say, at least 6 months.
I guess maybe I didn't install it maybe on some other hardware. I did notice they have a framework version. Kind of makes me want to try that out. Although, to upset Valerie, I would have to install it on an SD card. Hope Valerie doesn't ban me from my own thing here. But anyway, where was I going with that? I somewhere. Yeah, I wonder if there is a So there's obviously you can choose different desktops and whatnot. So I'm really kind of wondering now, like, obviously the end product of what Bazzite will give you is dependent on what you choose then. Because mine as a Steam Deck, mine just came, that's probably just the Steam Deck experience. I'm sure that's what it was. Because it had like everything that I was expecting to work from the Steam Deck just kind of worked.
Yeah, and that is very true. It's the same way on an HTPC. I mean, it's like you have a Steam Deck that is running on a PC. That's literally what it is. It's basically everything that you would expect. Like I say, the only thing that I found that was a little iffy is the SteamOS dev kit service that you need to easily transfer over, like, a game in progress that you're trying to test.
Okay.
Which that's the only thing that I found that's a little bit tricky. But from my understanding, that's really more of a weirdness on the part of Valve's side of things from how they set up that. And there is apparently a workaround I need to try now. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it is for all intents and purposes a Steam Deck. Like, you can go in there and turn on developer settings. You can get up to all the normal settings that you would see on a Steam Deck. Some of them obviously don't make sense on an HTPC, but they're there.
So I think that'd be. See, I really want to get something like a 1X player and just install it on that, just to see how that would be. Yeah, I want to see it on something else now, I guess. Even a framework. What are select your GPU? Huh. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Now, so I did. I don't know if I did the updates correctly, because I just used the Steam UI doing updates. I wonder, does anybody know if like, will that bring the Bazzite Atomic updates up as well? Do we know?
So my understanding is that Bazzite does its own updates in the background. And so, like, it'll download a new image at some point, and then when you restart, you go to the new image. The Steam update, I believe, is just for the Steam environment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is that all the Universal Blue systems kind of work that same way, as they download an image in the background, and then when you restart, you go to the next image. So they keep a couple images so that if you need to roll back, you can.
Okay, so Hikari Knight, I'm going to say, says the Steam UI will update the OS and Steam. So maybe there's maybe the Steam Deck does something different. The Deck just uses manual updates. Okay.
Well, good to know.
And Valerie says the Steam UI update button should work fine. The Deck image does not auto update like Michael is describing. Okay. So the desktop is automatic updates.
Well, that is very good to know, because I did not realize I believe all the rest of them work that way. That's why I was under the impression that this one did too. But it is good to know that is not the case.
Yeah, well, that's why we do these discussions. That's how we learn. I had no idea. So I have not had an experience where an update has failed on any Atomic systems at this point. Although I'm not really running any outside of. Okay, the closest thing I run is like SteamOS, but it's not Atomic, I guess, or maybe it is. I don't even know anymore. I don't know what the difference between immutable and Atomic is. At this point, I'm getting more and more confused the more we talk about it. Anyway, maybe I can talk my way through this one. I'm sure Prophetic can school me. But anyway, so So I have not had one fail and roll back. So how would I know if an update failed? Maybe Hikari Knight knows. Yeah. Okay. This makes sense. He says he says you want some more control with your handhelds. That's why it's not automatic. All right. That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so it'd be interesting to know like when something did fail, and then how would I know? Like it probably like wouldn't boot, and then maybe it could tell that it didn't boot, and then reboot itself. I don't know.
So
I know that SteamOS, if an image fails to boot, it will somehow it flags that it did not complete the boot process. So there must be some sort of way that it does that.
yeah, from my understanding, they're downloading the image. So I don't really know how the update itself would fail unless you ran out of space or something like that. I can see not being able to boot into that image, like if they have an example of an image that just something happened in the updates of the image itself. I don't think you could actually have that go wrong. Maybe the SteamOS update goes wrong, or the Steam update goes wrong, but I will be curious what they have to say in the chat then.
So Valerie says Bazzite deck doesn't auto update by default, but you can enable it because of the nature of the devices you're likely to install it on. You don't want a Bazzite update draining your hotspot data. Yeah, that makes sense. Although, then Hikari Knight says if an update fails, it will slap an error in your face, but then the update just won't apply. And is it George or Jorge Castro? Either way, it says they were smart enough to respect the network GUI thing when you're on metered internet. It also won't fire off. Okay, that's interesting. Huh. So an update failing will mean you'll never boot into the image. It'll never be an option. Oh, that's interesting too. It seems like a real complex but robust foundational infrastructure to be able to handle all those kind of changes. That's pretty wild. So the whole handoff process, that's pretty wild. Okay, so prophetic Jorge is a Spanish pronunciation. Sorry for the crude phonetics on that one. Yeah, that's fine. You can say whatever you want. All right. Okay, prophetic. So I don't know, but I don't know what's the actual pronunciation. So, yeah, the other thing I thought was really great too is on the installation process of to go back to that, when I wanted to like put in any additional information in there, like I wanted to change something, it popped up the Steam, UI, like the Steam keyboard right there on the Fedora installation process. I thought that was really pretty awesome. So it's George. He said he went by George in some interviews. Okay, so George is fine. All right. Valerie says once you understand how OS tree / Bazzite updates work, you realize it's kind of stupid simple. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So, you can feel free to join the conversation, the Zoom, if you feel like it. Yeah, Chris, that it's fine. But yeah, no, that was really neat. That. So there's so many questions that I have now as far as how were you able to integrate the SteamOS environment in such a seamless way that I wouldn't be able to tell that it was not SteamOS running on a Fedora base. That's the thing that I think that gets me. That's the real kicker right there that I find pretty amazing. Really cool. So yeah, the updates seem to be just fine. And I guess I think that's really what it comes down to. Like I think I want another like a 1x player or whatever to test that on now. I think that would be a great test just to see if that would, I don't know, like, would that experience then be like a 1x player? Would that be more like a SteamOS feel to it? I don't know. Like, I'm kind of okay. George says it'll be there in 5. It'd be interesting to see that now. Like it almost requires like a whole because there's so much to it. Like it requires a lot more exploration, I would say at this point. So Jinder, what did you install it on? Just was it like a laptop or a desktop, something like that?
Yeah, it was my laptop. I just installed it on there. I tried it out a little bit,
Mhm.
played with it. It was pretty cool. Like I said, the only thing that I didn't see in it was anything retro in the retro gaming department. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty flawless.
Okay. So Valerie says the Steam UI kind of handles itself the same way the desktop Steam client is the same across any Linux distro. There were extra complications to get it to work with the stuff like TDP controls. Yeah, I can see that. There'll be some tweaking there. And then Hikari Knight says, I'll be there in 1 minute, but can't stay long as it's 2 a.m. here. Oh, yeah, if it's 2 a.m., man, you are a dedicated human. I don't know that I would do this at 2 a.m. Like, who's up at 2 a.m. my time? Like, what? Yeah, it'll be like early morning in Europe, I guess. I don't know. So when I did play some things on there, I didn't notice any performance differences. So it seems like whatever they're doing on Bazzite is pretty much the same as on SteamOS. So I don't know if. So now I'm wondering, like, does the Bazzite team have access to the same tweaks, the hardware tweaks that they're doing with SteamOS? Does anybody know if that's how that's working? Prophetic, can you shake your head one way or the other?
I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of things there. I would have had my SteamOS Steam Deck here with Bazzite, but right before this show kicked off, my kids wanted to play on it, and I couldn't say no because I'm a pushover sometimes. So I left it there.
I swiped it from you. We know.
Yeah, this happens whenever I go to do stuff with it. All of a sudden, I mean, they got their own stuff. I don't know why they can't take my things. So Side Effect says, just join the stream. Looks like a cozy hangout. You got all the Bazzite devs and super users helping you in this chat here. You are in good hands, Blue Heart. Valerie says, SteamOS is less special in terms of tweaks than you'd expect. A lot of stock with only changes being of hardware enablement. Okay. So do they then does Valve upstream a lot of their stuff to the kernel? I wonder if that's part of it then too, for the hardware enablement piece of it, or is it just a patch you can add to the kernel or set of drivers? I'm not sure on that one either. So Michael, I got a question for you. On your home theater PC, you have that set to boot to like some kind of a big picture mode or just a desktop, or how do you have that working?
So, I mean, at this point, big picture mode is kind of Steam Deck UI.
Okay. Right. Yeah. That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, I have it set to boot into that. I don't. I occasionally boot over to the desktop mode to mess with something. I was trying to mess with setting up Cheat Deck the other day.
Okay.
So you can maybe make it easier to cheat in PC games. Yes.
Oh. Okay. Well, congratulations.
But yes, that is. I usually don't pop over to desktop mode. I usually just tend to hop into the whatever game. And here is George.
The father of Bazzite. George or Jorge, whichever. Or George or George.
Yeah, whichever. I don't.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I just want to call you whatever you want to be called.
No, no.
Like, I don't care what people call me either.
No.
My good friends call me Big Nose. I don't know why they're my good friends.
No. Father's kind of a strong word. I think I'm more of a generation earlier. We're probably a more basal form because in order for Bazzite to exist, we have the rest of UBlue, which is like where we make the base images and do a lot of the stuff that we share between ourselves. So UBlue is kind of like the framework, and things like Bazzite are the product, let's say, that are built on those base images. So your sound conked out for me 1 sec. Is that me?
I think people might just be quiet. But yeah,
That was weird.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but ultimately, you have that framework, and you can kind of flip the images in and out at will amiss?
Yeah, pretty much at the system level. However, software does touch your dot files in your home directory, and we never touch those. We're kind of the image part. So if you switch between KDE to GNOME or something, the themes break or something like that. But
Right.
that's not our fault. Like, files should not be stomping on each other's home directories. Like, that would be wrong, irregardless. So, yeah. I hope someone fixes that. So we don't recommend switching between like KDE and GNOME, but generally speaking, you can switch around.
Okay. So the comment was made that there's not a whole lot of hardware tweaks that are required from Bazzite. Because I did not notice a performance difference between SteamOS and Bazzite. Like I could not discern. Now, mind you, I don't have the
Perfect.
I'm a little bit old, so I don't see these things. And like the most complex game that I play is Cooking Simulator, and this is where I can hear the eyes roll as I say that. And so, why would you play Cooking Simulator when you can do it in real life? Anyway,
Yeah.
because you can't burn down your own kitchen in real life. So that aside, so I didn't notice any. And that game you can cause it the Steam Deck to choke if you have enough of those canisters that you explode in there.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to do any more. It didn't have a harder time on Bazzite than it did on SteamOS. So it seems like that's pretty much in line. So then,
Yeah, I mean, that's the greatest compliment you can give me as far as I'm concerned. Like, hopefully it's invisible. I think where people see the value in Bazzite is first the non-Steam handhelds.
right.
Get us a lot of attention. But also there's additional features that you get, right? Because we're Fedora, you do get a newer version of KDE, you get a newer version of pretty much anything, right? We just added a Bazzite DX image, so you can have a full development environment, you can have all of that stuff. So yeah, we're kind of more focused on the value add that we add around things like SteamOS, because the SteamOS part is only like a fraction of all Linux gaming, right? Like, so since we pretty much, I heard you asking on how the difference is between the images and how that works is, it's actually not the work that we do. There's someone called Evlav, which is like Valve backwards. There's someone on GitLab who takes all of Valve's stuff and puts it in a nice Git repository, and we use it. Nobara uses it. Kashi uses it. Like, everybody uses this one thing. So the ability to kind of deliver a SteamOS-like experience on whatever your favorite distro is, it's just a matter of grabbing those packages. Back in the day, I did this on Ubuntu, and it was like scripts, and there was this, there were like scripts to turn your Linux into a Steam machine kind of thing. Like Chimera OS was flying this flag for so long. They were like the only one that you could still get trying to keep the Steam machine dream alive.
Right.
But all that stuff is all open source. So it's only a matter of time when all Linux distros just, have a session that could say Steam. That's totally possible. We just got here faster, I think.
And I think also the infrastructure, the atomic updates or whatever they are, the immutability thing.
I just say consumer grade. They don't have to care.
Consumer grade. I like
They just
that.
don't have to care. Yeah.
Right.
I know as
consumer
Linux nerds, we're going to argue about immutable and atomic till the end of time, and I've accepted. Yeah, but for most people.
in my mind, they're the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They require me to jump through extra hoops to be able to do the things that I would normally do on a Linux distribution. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the vibe we shoot for.
To say is reprovisionable.
Anti-hysteris systems? You should read the original spec on this stuff.
Linux.
You should read the original spec on this stuff. It's bonkers, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Do you have like a link to like a white paper on that? Because that might be an interesting read.
Yeah, that's the Colin Walters one. Can someone in chat help me out? It's a pretty popular one in our community. I know we have folks in chat.
Yeah.
You could do a whole video on that alone. If you're looking for content.
Yeah, some naming conventions you just gotta like hunt and just say, all right, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
I think so what interested me as I'm going through this is I noticed you had also like a framework, a laptop image as well.
Oh, yeah. So
that's kinda cool.
that was our first meme image, which is we read on the framework forums that someone had taken a framework board and put like joysticks on the side,
Yes,
like a
yes.
Steam Deck. So Kyle made an image specifically for that person.
That's awesome.
Because it's like at some point, and if you look at these Strix Halo AMD stuff that's coming out, Kyle had one at scale. We just came back from the SoCal
Okay.
Linux Expo.
Yeah.
And that Strix Halo motherboard in a thing like that, oh yeah, that is way closer than you think. I couldn't believe it. It was a $2,000 tablet, but I believed. You know, it was really nice. Yeah, so like the new AMD kit is really making all that like possible. You know?
Yeah, there's the new framework AMD boards as well are really quite impressive.
Yeah,
framework 13
yeah.
boards, main boards.
Oh, that's going to be my next upgrade. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, disclaimer: I'm one of their Linux ambassadors, so I will be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I volunteered.
I work in IT management for a couple of processing plants, and we actually use we basically only buy framework laptops now there, and so we have a business relationship with them, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
I wish I could have that at work.
yeah, it makes, honestly, like I proposed it to my then boss, and she's like, yeah, it looks neat, I like it, and then that's basically been full steam ahead. Steam. But yeah, I just ordered this week 2 more framework 13s and a framework 16 for somebody, and the 16 is going to a guy that's in basically safety. Like I'm tempted just to install Steam for these people who have framework 16s, just because it's a waste if you don't have Steam on there. And I'm the IT manager, I can do that, right? Is that allowed? Can I do that?
Yeah.
But anyway, that aside, yeah, that's really cool. So the other thing too is like long term then, obviously there can be other handhelds that are going to come out. You got the ROG Ally. You've got what else? I can look here. You have it right here.
There's a new Legion Go pre-order with SteamOS
that's
came
right.
out today, right?
Legion Go
Yeah.
S. Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah, that's really neat. And then the GPD, 1X player, the AYN or AYN, whatever. And then you have other handheld PCs. So what would the other handheld PCs then be? Just like a more of a generic image?
Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of the reason that they have to be separate images is for like the joysticks. That's handled by HHD handheld Demon. So they kind of have to be tailored. And because they're Linux machines, depending on the vendor, you might have to massage things a little bit more.
Right.
Like for example, the Lenovo ones are generally easier because they know how to Linux better than a lot of them. Right.
Okay.
So
And
they already have a working relationship with Fedora. They know how to kernel.
Right.
So usually a
that's nice.
Legion is relatively easy for us, whereas some of the other ones, not so much.
I got
Yeah,
you.
from what I remember, we got Legion Go support before the Asus ROG Ally support was fully complete.
Oh wow. And the Asus ROG Ally was before, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. I know it'd just be fun to experience that on a non Steam Deck.
It's weird. Yeah, when I ran into Kyle, we're at the bar and he brought out everything, and he had the Legion Go, and I'm getting older, so the big screen is like really interesting to me. I envision just hanging it on the airplane seat, because you can attach the controllers and just put them in your lap. And yeah, that one really vibe with me, because you can take the right joystick and it comes with like this little adapter thing, and it becomes like a wireless mouse. So yeah, I have no idea what I would do with that, but I would try a bunch of stuff.
I have yet to actually find a good use for it.
Yeah.
If you
The detachable joysticks were the detachable controllers though were very good when I was on the mend for like over a month.
Yeah,
that was very nice. I didn't have to actually hold up the whole handheld. I could still play games while I was in the bed.
That's nice. See, but the new one doesn't have the detachable joysticks, or are they going to have both of them?
There's going to be a Legion Go 2, and that will have detachable controllers.
Okay. Ooh, that's an insider knowledge here. Did I have to sign an NDA?
No, it was shown on CES.
Yeah, nobody tells us nothing. Like we find out.
I got you.
Like, whoever can get to the store first and get us a dump wins. Like,
Oh, okay, I got it. And then the so you have two desktop environments. You have KDE and GNOME. Is there a is it just because those are the two big ones? Is that why you went with those?
I know Carl said that he went with KDE first originally because that's what the SteamOS has,
Okay.
and then he made the GNOME image because he likes GNOME.
Okay.
and then
I
he
got
committed. He committed to Budgie next,
Yeah.
Yes,
and then
I'm
probably
soon.
Cosmic. Even though I think that.
I mean, I'm interested in Cosmic. If he's not going to do it, I'm going to see if I can do it. Like with fully integrated, like we have with KDE and GNOME currently.
Yeah.
So if he's not going to do it, I'm going to give it a shot at least.
So integrating the keyboard, the pop-up keyboard, by holding the Steam and then hitting the the X, I think it is X Y, yeah. Like you have that working on the Fedora install piece of it. How did you do that? That seems like that's a complicated patch to make to modify the installer to be able to handle the on-screen keyboard. Like when I saw
During
that,
the Anaconda installer, because I don't think we have that working in the Anaconda installer because it relies on Steam running.
no, it was working in the Anaconda installer because I was like jumping up and down when I installed that. Like how did they do this?
Can someone take a picture?
Yeah, because like
I'd
I'm
love
not
to
aware of
believe
this.
that.
It must be something really new, if anything, at that point.
I mean, I can just run it again, run the install again, just wipe it and do it again.
Yeah,
and
let me
it's
know.
like-
It doesn't have to be now. That would just be very interesting.
Well, my
yeah.
kids have the Steam Deck. They took it from me.
Oh yeah, that thing's gone forever, man.
Well, listen, I even got another Steam Deck for my youngest, and then they took them both.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts, man.
I need my own now.
Can I
So,
get one?
what's that?
Can I get one?
A Steam Deck?
Yeah. If you're handing them out like candy.
Well, I'm not. My kids keep taking them.
Well,
If he gets you one, they're gonna take yours too.
Yeah. If I get another one, I don't know. I only have 3 kids, so I think it stops at 3, right?
You would think so.
that you know of.
But
I'm
but
just
see, then you need the Legion Go 2 once that Bazzite image is out for it, because then you'll have
So
the one, and they'll have the Steam Decks.
it's true. I wonder how the Go 2 is going to do on battery versus the Legion Go. That's what I'm interested in knowing the difference. Did you get that at Steam at the CES? Did you find that out? The battery life is on that.
It was just shown off at CES. There's a few YouTubers that got hands-on with it to try out. I think it was mostly just a dummy unit, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. Okay.
I wanted
Well,
to ask Jorge, with this whole ease of use with projects like this, people talk about, okay, cool, now we're getting to a place where like we can target the normal people. Where do you stand on that? Are you actually, is that a secondary target or a primary target, or are you just focusing on the
Primary
power
target.
users who want to get work done?
Primary target.
Primary target. You either want to play Halo or you got work to do, as far as I'm concerned. That's who I cater to. And then the experts know how to Linux and know how to container already, and that's going to be the people that help maintain the thing. And we focus on staying small and highly focused, so we have that contributor equilibrium, so we can just run this thing in perpetuity. And our mission is just to fix this problem and either play games or do work. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
yeah, for
strives.
Bazzite for sure. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about like how about Bluefin?
Oh, for Bluefin, yeah, it's my work machine. It's my daily driver. Like, it's my intention for that to be the best.
But you
Just the
wouldn't
best
say
Linux
like,
desktop.
but you
Yeah.
wouldn't say like, all right, great, this is something you could give to your grandma now for Bluefin or something like that. You wouldn't say that the project is there yet, or is it going to be there? Or what do you think about that? Because people say the reason why I ask is people usually punt that question
Yeah.
or they just say they're shooting for it, but they're not ready right now.
Yeah.
Like what I'm curious where you guys stand as a project for like Linux for the masses of noobs.
Yeah. So if I had someone I care about, I would still tell them to buy a Chromebook. That's just a
Okay.
realistic expectation. However, if I have someone that I'm going to be their IT person anyway, and they're relatively closer, I think Bluefin is almost there. And the reason it isn't technical. There's a few technical bummers, like the download bandwidth and stuff needs to be fixed, but that's coming in the spring.
Nice.
But once those few last technical hurdles, it's really more of a, if you had an organization that had paid developers to kind of ensure that consumer level of quality, absolutely. And I think you could do it relatively cheaply. And that's kind of what our project's goal is, but on a non-commercial level, right? If I have enough people who are sysadmins in every time zone who know how to use Fedora, you know, I think we can get really good quality for the, you know, for the effort that's invested.
Mhm.
That's why we invest so much in automation, right? We want, you know, if you're a Linux nerd, sysadmin, and you spent, you know, a handful of PRs a year to help keep the thing going, like we don't need that many people.
Yeah.
Except we keep growing the scope, but that's our own fault.
Yeah, that's kind of like the part of the game.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, Atomic, really? That's every image again times 2. And then you got Budgie, that's times 4. So now the build times go up 4 times, right? Like, so that, and everything has a cost, you know? So that's the thing that's what makes our project a lot of fun, right? We're always kind of like, do we optimize for giving people what they want, or the realistic thing that we can support at the quality that we want? We'd rather not do a thing than,
Yeah, I think that's probably wise.
yeah, we kill things way faster than people like I know it upsets people. It's like, look, we tried it, it's not gonna work. We'll try again in 6 months when 3 more people show up. That's the best I can do, you know?
Yeah, I think what's special about your project too about this is that you keep the whole volunteer workload thing at the forefront. That's something I wish more projects did, because I think a lot of projects,
Yeah.
we have enough history. I don't know how it keeps on repeating itself, but I guess that's the name
Yeah.
of it, is that people burn out, fizzle out, and they just crash. And I love that you keep on talking about that ratio of like the work and the effort and the volunteer space.
Yeah. Because we
So-
measure that at work, right? So the Linux Foundation on their projects, they have an insights dashboard, and it will tell you how many commits are made by people outside of their core work hours. So you can measure that and know well, wow, there's a lot of night owls here, or no one's getting any sleep. Like, it should be relatively easy for projects to do that. So I'm pretty strict about it. Like, if someone's wasting our time, I kind of, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way
I mean,
to do
we
it.
don't have time to slow down. We got to finish this thing, you know? We've been
Right.
trying to, this was a weekend project. It's like year 4, man.
So Philip
It's
in
a
the
long
chat
weekend.
says, my only Bluefin gripe is it comes with Vim instead of NeoVim. I know that I don't know the difference.
If you brew install NeoVim, I guarantee you will always have the newest version of NeoVim no matter what. Because
Well,
no
there
one
you
is
go.
faster than brew when it comes to NeoVim. It's automated. It's pretty dope.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah.
How do you enable brew on Bazzite?
So Bazzite,
It's there.
yeah, all of our images come with Homebrew. That's how you get your
okay.
command line tools. Yeah. So if you want BTOP, actually, I think we include BTOP in Bazzite, don't we?
BTOP is included, yes.
Yeah. So
That's my
usually
favorite.
NeoVim, any cool CLI tool that you see on like the news or whatever, is usually on there. And then a lot of the pro tools, like all the tools to interface with all the clouds and stuff, is all in there anyway. So it's kind of
Wasn't that the framing you used to like say like Homebrew for like your CLI tools and tooling,
yeah,
and Flatpaks for your apps, and that's the sweet spot.
yeah. Because we're not a distro, we're actually 3 distros. We're Fedora, Homebrew, and FlatHub. But we didn't really figure out to explain it that way until last week. I was like, oh man, why didn't we just say that from the beginning? But it was not
Ambassador,
obvious.
we have some DistroBox to bundle in there too.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with DistroBox too. Is like, do you want to go for the CLI down that road or the Homebrew? It sounds like you guys are comfy with Homebrew, with recommending it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so well automated. You know, I spent all this time trying to get my Ubuntu distro box perfect. You know, and by the time I got in there, it's like, oh man, all these tools are 3 years old, and all the kids are trying all these Rust tools, and I just kind of want to try all that stuff. And I didn't want to do PPAs, and now I'm making custom stuff. I was just like, well, if Homebrew has everything, and you can observe it on GitHub, I watched all the updates going, and it was like, wow, a lot of this stuff just isn't in Linux distros. And
Yeah, DistroBox is a one-man band currently, I believe, or it's very close to that. So I think sounds
Yeah.
like Homebrew has way more of a base and teams.
oh
to
yeah,
support it.
yeah,
So
and the Mac people, all the
yeah,
Linux people, are Mac people.
yeah, yeah, you're in good hands in that case. DistroBox
Yeah.
is a fantastic tool. I love DistroBox, but it sounds like Homebrew has the stability and the
Yeah.
backups of people who are doing the work.
And DistroBox is just Podman. I mean, it's also our fault because of our project. Luca got on ChainGuard's radar and they hired him. So my bad on that if you love DistroBox. But he's a very happy individual right now.
So he's happy working on what, like, just
Yeah, Wolfie, all of ChainGuard's images.
mm,
Like if you see those, they make those distroless, really,
Oh,
really
okay.
small images. Great for Kubernetes, great for Docker, all that good stuff. They're doing very well, so I'm glad he hitched up with them.
Yeah, I'm very happy for him for that too. I personally use more distro boxes than Brew, but that's because my workflow fits perfect for that.
yeah,
All my tooling is literally like whatever is in Ubuntu, no PPAs, whatever. And then if I need to compile something on Fedora, well, I'll just spin up a Fedora distro box and I'm good. And I don't need anything else. I don't do anything fancy.
I came into the space with Silverblue first, then hopped on Aeon at the time, MicroOS desktop, and I was off to the races with Aeon because I loved how minimal it was and how pretty clean it was,
Oh yeah,
and how solid it was at a beta level. Now it's a
Yeah.
release candidate about to get released hopefully within the next year, but same thing, project scope creep, all that stuff. But I kind of got into it with DistroBox through that because
Yep.
that became the default that came with it. And I find like a lot of people have the hard time wrestling with like DistroBox. It takes a while for them to orient themselves.
yeah,
I found like using like a testing DistroBox and a production DistroBox and having that naming convention split really wraps my head around like, all right, testing, staging, production.
yeah,
I know I can throw away these, and the visual naming conventions really go a long way. So once you have like a plan of attack to organize your distro boxes, it makes it so much easier. Because I find like if you don't have that, distro boxes gets too weird. too
Thanks to
hard to wrap.
Jinda, I use something called Box Buddy. It's a Flatpak, and that's how I
Oh, the
manage
GUI,
all my
yep, yep.
yeah, because it's like I just click this, that, and then I get what I want, and then I test it. Whatever it is I'm testing, I have a silly idea. It's usually a
Yep.
bad one and doesn't work, but I like to test it, and then I throw it away.
yeah.
Yeah,
I say,
And we
well,
ship that by
was-
default on all our stuff.
Yeah, so that's what.
so
what-
that helps a lot of people get
It
wrapping
does.
around their head of distro box.
And then you can integrate integrate whatever applications, whatever, right into your menu from Box Buddy. There's not any complex command; it just does it all for you. Just click, 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 and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
You can launch the terminal directly from there too. Get
Yep.
right
And
in
then
your
the-
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
BoxBuddy is awesome, even though I don't use it myself.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
Brew
love
only. I
it.
don't even use. I don't use any of that anymore.
Yeah. So, because I kind of feel like with DistroBox and Box Buddy, and it almost seems like whatever distribution you use is almost kind of irrelevant at this point because
Yeah,
you can.
that's what I love about it.
Yeah. It's like whatever base is comfortable with you, then you build on top of that. I mean, I personally use it to. It sounds silly, but like all my main applications are just on the host, and then any like the funny applications are on a distro box. In whatever, because then like if it requires a bunch of like weird packages that I got to use to like, baling wire and duct tape the thing together to get it to work, and then I just leave it, and then I don't have to worry about changing that. I can just kind of leave that and turn it on and off whenever I want it. So and I don't know how to move it though to another machine. Is there a way to export a distro box image?
Yeah, but ideally you're rebuilding on the spot, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like
It-
baling wire and duct tape is the issue. So I got it.
I think it's Distro export. I
Okay.
think might be the command. It's well documented in there somewhere, but
Yeah,
you
I
certainly
have to
can.
play with that.
The way I do it is that I just make a assemble manifest for the distro box, and I rebuild that, and I just have a custom home directory for every distro box. Then I just move the home directory
Oh, okay.
to the new computer, and then I just rebuild the distro box.
That's a beautiful feature they added on. I don't know how long ago, but that symbol really changed it, made it even more powerful.
And the custom home directory, my home directory is so clean now.
Yeah. Even with
I
Flatpak
don't have-
stuff, you can place Flatpaks even.
Yeah, and I have all the dev stuff. It's like in its own tucked away folder, and I only go there when I care about it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So Nate, the reason you would do that, we call that declarative config, is once you know that you've made the most changes to a thing you're going to keep around forever, you just automate that bit, even though you're kind of front loading the work. And technically on one machine, you don't need to do it, but there will be a time when you're on another machine, a new install, you might be in Windows, you might be on a friend's thing, and just having everything all nice and checked in there is like really clean, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like to do, just to kind of keep my updates quicker, as well. It's like because I'm an OpenSUSE tumbleweed guy. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've kind of got a thing going here.
Yeah.
The zipper is not the fastest of package managers, and so so I just kind of keep my package set a little bit trim, and then I put everything else in DistroBox. So when I update those when I feel like it, and then it works tip top. So I don't have all the extra things, whatever.
Yeah. OpenSUSE makes a dedicated toolbox image, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they make one just for distro boxes, an OpenSUSE image. I think it's Tumblebee. It's one of them. It's worth your time. Yeah.
We'll have to check that out. I need to take notes.
Yeah. Because then it has all the stuff that it needs to be awesome out of the box. Because sometimes when you create new ones, you have to wait for it to download all those packages and all that stuff in the background
Super
each
fast,
time.
yeah. DistroBox Center, and you're in there.
Right, exactly. So the instant launch is worth it. And if you're updating, one of the other nice things about kind of automating the file of it is what happens instead of doing updates is you destroy and recreate the container. You destroy, pull, and then recreate the container with the new image. So instead of doing upgrades, you're kind of just shooting it and a brand new one comes up. And that's where the cloud native part comes from, because that's what keeps things nice and clean. And you're going to get Z standard diff updates for those here pretty soon, so it should be faster than Zipper. You just get a whole new image instead of updating the existing one, I guess is my long-winded way to say
Gotcha.
that. Sorry if I ramble. Someone shut
No. You're great, because you're actually now causing me. You just caused me like 40 hours of work now. I appreciate that. So
Fun work.
Or the cron job in our desktop images will just do it for you when you're asleep.
That's another thing too. People think like, oh, I gotta manage now. Instead of having one machine, I gotta manage like 8 mini machines on my host machine. But like, no, if it's automatically updating the back end, you don't need to touch it. It's not. You don't have to manage anything.
Oh, see, now my thing is the not updating all the time. That's actually my whole reason for.
Yeah. Some people like that. Keep it untouched.
Then what you do is you would pin your image to a hash. And then, when you're ready to update, move to the next one, either by hand or you have a little bot. We use a tool called Renovate that will, hey, there's a new update, and we look, and if it looks legit,
So with the gaming side, we know that's usually an on-ramp for a lot of people to really get the best of Linux. SteamOS has been and Steam Deck has been amazing for kind of showing people what Linux can do on gaming. For Bazzite, and looking to the future, do you find yourselves turning into a competitor to SteamOS, or even what's your any eyes on funding models for the future?
Akari, you want to answer that one?
Well, the only thing we have is the donations that through GitHub sponsors, and we have a donation page that shows individual contributors that you can donate to. Also, on the first part, my headset cut off, so I did not get the first part of that. I had to restart my
just
headset.
like a lot of projects that get successful, but the monetization doesn't equate to the level of success either. And sometimes it's nice to pay people part-time. I know with Ubuntu Mate, Wimpy was like really smart and savvy with how he leveraged like part-time work for sprints or mini sprints. Now he moved funds to help with like bottlenecking and blowing up those bottlenecks. Any thoughts on like funding models and how to future-proof some of that?
I think that's actually would be better better to ask Kyle about, but he's not here. So essentially, currently it's just GitHub sponsors and that. I can be pretty transparent with like how much I've gotten in donations so far. I've gotten enough to pay for my Intel Arc card that I got last year.
Nice.
Fantastic.
That I used for I used that for testing. I'm one of 2 people with an Intel card for testing. That are among the contributors in Bazzite. I get to enjoy all those fun little Intel bugs.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really the right person to ask that specific question.
I find
as far as I remember, I think Kyle said that there was no plans to set up anything beyond the GitHub sponsors.
I'm looking at the web page right now, and maybe I'm just a little bit slow, but I don't see like a very clear way of how to sponsor the project.
Ha! I knew it. It's in the docs.
Yeah, it's in.
We're working on a new. Oh,
It's a nice web
now
page.
we're giving them work.
Thanks, man. I can talk about the funding thing because we all just met up at scale and kind of synced up on everything. But we're explicitly non-commercial for a bunch of reasons. A, we're lazy. We have day jobs. And also, like, it was never really a consideration until like Bazzite kind of started doing its thing. I can't speak for the others, but myself and Kyle aren't looking on monetizing or anything like that. If you look at our mission, actually, my project's Universal Brew's kind of purpose is to help onboard people into cloud native because we're based on Bootsy, which is a CNCF project, which is where I work. So, I want to get pumped up kids contributing to cloud native, right? That's like my day job. So that's for that. And then Kyle, ironically, works at Microsoft. So like he's got a great job doing Microsoft Linux stuff.
Neat.
But like it can be a totally healthy project. That's why we keep our scope low and just tell people invest in the person, not their distro. I'm sick of distros, man. Like pay a FlatHub developer. If you care about joysticks, pay Antheus, right? Like we run the entire project on like $60 a month on GitHub, and we can maintain that in perpetuity. So like we're purposely not trying to collect money to spend money. Like we don't want to write apps. Like we had to write an installer today, and I'm happy but so mad,
Yeah.
Yep.
Because what we really want is we want people learning this stuff so they can contribute to FlatHub. So like Tulip has been learning how to do flat packs and stuff like that. And after meeting Glorious Egg Roll at scale, and we had beer and it was amazing, we're like, hey, look, man, between all of us, we can figure out how to get flat packs sorted. So the next day he sent us a list. He's like, these are the OBS flat packs I need. So we started to work on those like for the plugin so that like he can get more of that stuff. But this is the kind of I'm doing a keynote at the Linux Application Summit here next month. So you're kind of practice. Sorry.
Oh, good. No, I like it.
But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about is like,
well, you're a thought leader, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Putting the stuff forward.
Yeah.
I hate that term, but it is what you do.
Yeah, it is kind of my job, and then sometimes this is what sucks about open source is like you start off and you're like, well, this is going to be for me. If you don't like it, it's like Metallica. Like, I don't care if you don't like it, but once the contributors come in and they start contributing to stuff, like we have folks that have contributed to the Linux kernel, FlatHub and stuff. At some point, it's just out of your hands, right? As like an open source, I've been doing this job for 20 years. You just have to let the ecosystem flourish, for a little bit. And then the best you can do is measure as many things as possible, right? So, everything from that chart where KDE raised all that money in December, y'all see that thing?
Mm-hmm.
To like when something kind of comes out of nowhere like Bazzite and surprises you, that it can even do that,
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is because like it just keeps speaking about history. We have Matrix out of nowhere, like asking for 100K.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, out of nowhere, like what happened all this time and what led to that?
Yeah.
And usually it's blindsiding, it's like it sneaks up on you. And with the success with Bazzite, it makes one wonder, like, okay, who is looking at that and who can help? And I really appreciate what you say about like instead of donating to the distro, donate to the people, donate to the applications, because that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And it's at this point I'm willing to try anything, I've been trying to get Linux on the desktop going for like 30 years. So maybe this time. But no, I think it's pretty good. I think we can all get what we want if we get that sustainable app model where, so the KDE donation was awesome, but didn't it suck when that GNOME app extension author tried to ask for donations and the UX wasn't exactly friendly. And instead of everyone coming together and figuring out, hey, we need to figure out a structured way to get donations so everyone gets paid, the person gets flamed on their bug tracker and now just like gives up on the project and walks away. And can you blame them?
Yeah, yeah.
So like
exactly.
I'm very much interested in solving this problem here because we have this same problem at work. Kubernetes has this problem. Like everybody has this problem. So it just so happens that it's happening here in the desktop. And I think there's lessons learned that I take away from work when I'm talking to people that can actually help, and help translate what the gamers want, right, into what we can resource and do what we can. So for me, if we just fix the application, if you could just give a few dollars a month and it makes your desktop that much better, like we would be so much better off considering the other options that are available,
Well, there is a problem with the idea of donating to the individual developers and everything is like it sounds good and it makes sense, but also it creates a confusion of how many people are you going to do, who are you supposed to donate to, and all this other stuff. That's why distros or projects are more viable, because like the SPI is a good example where some projects don't even bother doing anything. They're just like, you handle it. And it's a lot easier if you say, hey, go just donate to the SPI and they'll figure it out. There's a huge play in that, because most people, if you think about the idea of subscription fatigue, everybody's tired of that. It's kind of like applying that in the same way, that if the more complicated it is, the harder it is to get people to donate. And I feel like KDE made it easier because it's just one thing for anyone who's a part of KDE.
Yeah.
It would double-edged sword.
It would be nice if there was, like, I like to donate to KDE. I do an annual donation to KDE, because one, they send me an email to remind me that it's been a year, but two, because I use it. I mean, I use it every day. Like it's my desktop. I use it at work. I use it at home. I use it everywhere. And I would like to see it continue to be better and better every year. And so I have no problem donating or buying things from developers if they make it an easy way to do that. It's it depends on how many hoops I have to jump through, I guess. But if they can minimize that resistance, I am more than happy to help people out or projects. If I'm using it, there's no reason why they shouldn't get some kind of reward for it. I mean, as an example, there's an application called Prospect Mail, and I use it for my Outlook because I use Linux in a Microsoft environment. So I use Prospect Mail as my Outlook client, and I donated to that developer. I mean, I don't know, it wasn't a whole lot, but they were very grateful, and they sent me a cat photo of their cat, and I loved it. It was a great way to respond. So anyway, we exchanged cat photos for a little bit. So okay. Anyway, the thing is like
The
there's,
internet.
yeah, what else are you gonna do? So I mean, I think there's such an opportunity to do a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of bad on the internet, okay, but there's such an opportunity to do some good on the internet. And I think to shine a light. And I think George, I think you are a great light. That an example of something that's so wonderful to see your passion and everything that you're doing right now. That just I want I feel like you're just like this blaze of fire of optimism, and I want to pour gasoline on that sort of. Anyway,
Can't get any hotter, man. I'm so mad at the Linux desktop. I swear to God.
Yeah, but I'd love to see more of that, more people that kind of passion and desire to see it get better. Anyway, yeah, it's just exciting.
What's cool about George though is like he has that anger about it. It's almost like you kind of have to get a little angry about it, but then also there's solutions like he's kind of proposing and putting forward. A lot of people complain and that's it. So it's kind of cool to see where he's going with all this stuff. So
yeah, and Bazzite was all I needed. I'm good forever now. I don't need another user. Well, wait, hold up. I'd like to address Michael's point though, real quick. Is I would love to be in that position where I had to worry about where to divvy up the money, But as of now, we're like running on $100 a month. I think our Cloudflare bill is like $9. There's no way they're making money on us on that one. But I think for now, the best thing we can do is encourage people to start the FlatHub thing. Like I think that's where we're going to start now, especially as we're starting to help get that. And we kind of like can redirect resources where needed.
When you say FlatHub thing, are you talking about the FlatHub LLC stuff?
Well, part of it is the LLC stuff, but getting people contributing to FlatHub more, getting people using the packages. Like we've helped package the Vert Manager Flatpak QEMU extension, so you can run Vert Manager on it with a Flatpak now instead of having all that stuff on your host, that kind of stuff. And we donate. Tulip went and did that, and then someone from Fedora mentored her, and then we got it in, and that's upstream. Like we can be in charge of our own destiny for a lot of the software that we use every day just by figuring out how to on-ramp folks to do this stuff, which is how I want to fund uBlue eventually, which is we've had companies just hiring people out of us because of the expertise and stuff that you learn by doing all the cloud native stuff, because it's the same skills that companies need, So we're showing value because I'm measuring all of this stuff. We're showing value to those companies that having, something like this, which is relatively simple, well scoped. It's not, it's not the Linux kernel, right? You can maintain the thing in perpetuity with a low amount of people. So
I guess it comes down to doing both. Distros can do better with advocating for funding, and also we can advocate for individuals too. I think it's a matter of both. But
yeah,
I'm sorry, Mike, are you going to say something?
No, I'm just asking about the managing, not the kernel managing. What do you mean? Like for companies to deploy immutable stuff, or what do you mean?
No. I mean the project itself is very simple and done. It's like a Docker file. It's not like we are going to be an expensive project to run.
Oh, I got you.
Term, right? Like we're pretty much scoped to last for a very long time. One of the project's goals when we started was, can this last for a very long time? And so it's more about keeping a thinnest layer of possible so that I can maintain this in perpetuity and then not have to care about computers again for my life. So that's kind of the idea is you install it for the life of the hardware, because it's a clean upgrade every single day. So it's just as nice 5 years from now as it is when you freshly installed it, other than your dot file stuff in your home directory. But you're going to get that anyway.
But we don't count that. That's not.
Yeah. Someone make another cleaner. That's
And at my job, we're running a pilot test at the moment with like 30 laptops that are all like custom uBlue images, pretty much. I mentioned this once to before, George. This was before the image template even was a thing.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so this is using Blue build. So, but still, hey, it works. and it helps manage all those computers, because if I need to change something on those computers, I push a change, and then next time they reboot, they have the change.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Now it's just to try and get the administration to realize how nice it actually is.
Yeah. But if someone wanted to monetize our work, they're welcome to. I think Playtron does. That's definitely using Bootsy in some of our stuff. So
yeah, they do. I think.
Good luck.
Who does it? Play who?
Playtron.
Playtron. Okay.
Yeah. They were the other logo in the framework keynote. They had the Bazzite logo and that one. We do work. Some manufacturers do send us hardware kit. So framework sends me stuff, so we make sure it always works. And to me, the framework with Bluefin is like that's like the dream machine. I've always,
I want
Linux friendly hardware.
I want the framework laptop so much, but they don't send to Norway.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad. Like, I could take a Danish keyboard. That's fine. It's two buttons that are wrong.
Yeah.
I can swap them. But no, they refuse to send to Norway, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
They really are great machines. Like, I've had mine for 2 years. I'm so ecstatic by it. So it's maybe not the best laptop, but it's the best laptop company.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, laptops are a solved problem for me now. It's one less thing in my life to worry about,
Well, George, Tulip, did you have anything you want to say? I want you hopped in here. I just want to make sure you had an opportunity to say whatever it is.
Shut up.
It's just mostly. Also, can you guys hear me? Like, fine?
I can hear.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so no, it's just mostly like we benefit a lot from the work that is going like from Red Hat on this stuff. Like RHEL is gonna ship with stuff like this, right? So we aren't like on a really bad base or anything.
Yeah,
That's it.
Good answer.
Oh, great. Well, I just want to thank you so much, because we're kind of nearing the end of the time here, but I want to thank you so much for joining and educating, all of us on this. I mean, especially me. I mean, I'm just to be selfish. I mean, I really appreciate it. It's great. It's actually the only reason I do Linux Saloon is so I can learn something, and because I'm actually the dumbest guy on this panel, to be fair. So I super appreciate you hopping in here, and I want to thank you personally.
Challenge accepted.
I do Linux because it's fun, and like every time we talk about stuff, it's like, well, I had no idea about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Could I build a Flatpak app? No, I couldn't. But anyway, point of that is, thank you for Bazzite. I think it's great. It's really inspiring. I love your passion for this project, for desktop Linux, because that's how I make my money.
We're close, Nate.
Oh, we're so close.
We're almost done.
Um,
No, thanks for having us. I mean, we're always happy to answer questions about the site.
And
we've got long-term plans. Like, we see where we need to be.
Yeah. It was such a beautiful installation process. I could not it is. I mean, this was no more difficult than setting up an Atari 2600 on, actually maybe easier, because you don't have to have an RF adapter. But it was like popping in a cartridge and going is really what it was like to get this to go. The hardest part was getting in and select and making sure that I could to boot from the USB on the Steam Deck. That was the hardest.
Man, nobody says that about Anaconda. Like, nobody's.
There wasn't anything to do though. It was all already pre-configured. I just had to select.
Yeah.
I just had to select to use that drive and then hit done.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I had to do, and but done's on the wrong side still, and then
please. I don't know it's out of your hands, but gosh, Fedora, they do so many things right, and then they just do some things that are just like, what in the world is still like this?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know how we do that is we ship it server style with like a pre-made kickstart, which is an old server trick to get server automation going. We just use it for the desktop. Right. That's like our whole shtick there.
Right. So it would have been, I would have just had to hit done if I was not going to the SD card, which I realized, I know Valor didn't like it that I was using the SD card, but it was.
Oh yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
But it worked great. It worked great. It worked beautifully. actually.
That's a lot better than your Aeon experience, right, Nate?
Yeah,
Like you
it
had a
is.
rough time with the Aeon experience because
I
of
did.
the.
You know,
Uh-huh.
Bluefin was just a rip off Aeon. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did.
no.
Yeah.
That it's I guess it goes down to preference because some people like it lean and clean and they go Aeon, and then some people appreciate the added comfy slippers effect of like
Mhm.
trying to make it homey and
The,
so yeah.
that I think is I think because it's so focused. I think you know what you're getting. It's a product.
I love it. Yeah.
And it was ready to rock. I mean, anyway. Okay, I go on, but it was great.
Yeah,
Love it.
he's
They give tail
opinion.
scale.
Richard is opinionated. And
Yes,
Very
he is.
opinionated.
I'm as
yes.
opinionated in Bluefin as he is in Eon.
Yep.
because There
It's-
is definitely, we're definitely trying to reach a certain use case of folks, right? Like
Mhm.
my desktop layout is 1990s classic X-Men Ubuntu, right? Like the thing I grew up with and helped build, you know?
they
So that's
ship
the desktop
tail
I go with, right? You wanted a dock and app indicator? Sure, man, I give up, you know?
scale. Give up.
So like that's like the era I'm trying to capture, you know, but also technology has moved on and like mastering cloud and AI and all that stuff, like it's part of the day job. So I want to build the cloudy part is I want to build the best Linux workstation for people like me, you know?
I was shocked you guys shipped tail scale. I was like, what?
Oh man. Yeah. Because for me, a computer without tail scale is just broken. And I know people not going to like that. I can see Michael's face already.
I didn't say anything.
Wait, is tail scale a sponsor?
No.
Oh, well, we see about that. No, just kidding.
No, you got to be.
I mean,
you
they
gotta
should be.
important.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For me,
I was
just
just
want my work.
amused by the statement. It was no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah. You know what it's like to connect your server from a Steam Deck on an airplane is like?
No, it
No.
sounds glorious.
Yeah. It's
That sounds
glorious. Yeah.
Glorious egg roll. Wait, so Tailscale is installed by default on Bazzite?
Yeah, all of our images have tail scale. Aurora, Bluefin. Yeah. Even the server component does, so you can VPN up all your stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
paint
And
me
all the
green and call me
all the
Gumby.
WireGuard tools. So if you prefer a different thing, you can. use
I also like
that.
how y'all joined this Linux Saloon because now I know how to say Bazzite.
Yeah, man. You know, Brody says
I have
it's the
butchered it
weirdest.
so many times.
Yeah. He goes Bazzite or something. He's all Australian. It's all weird.
Zite.
At least I was saying Buzzite. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's close.
It's a mineral.
Yeah. I wish Kyle was here because someone got Kyle because he's actually the Bazzite guy.
And Michael was like the pronounced the right thing the right way guy too. And
But I couldn't find it anywhere where y'all are saying it. So I tried many times and I was like, I don't know. So I said Bazzite and Bazzite interchangeably, even in the same like sentence. I would just flip
in
it back
case.
and forth. I'll be right one of them, you know?
Like gnome. Gnome.
Well, GNOME might do it on purpose because it annoys people.
George, doesn't Kyle just slightly change it around just to mess with people?
I think he does. Yeah.
Wow.
Whatever British YouTuber says Bazzite, probably Joe Resington, that nice English. That's how I prefer to listen to it in my head.
Zo Ronan says Bazinga. So
Bazinga.
Yes,
Well,
Bazinga.
the funny thing with Brody though is that he actually uses the Norwegian pronunciation of Bazzite. That's
how
it.
does that happen?
I don't know. Languages, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that we can all
Linux is
communicate is just a miracle in and of itself.
Zite.
So anyway, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I really got to get another handheld because now I want to play with another handheld. Actually, now I think I just might back up now SteamOS because you told me Tailscale. I was like, my mind is blown, and I think I may end up actually just replacing SteamOS with Bazzite just for Tailscale because when my kids are not with me, we want to play games together, and so I have to do some weird stuff to get it to work. But now, if I got Tailscale going on that Steam Deck, problem solved.
And on your HTPC, you put Bazzite, and then connect to your NAS or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Tailscale.
Install your Plex or Jellyfin app, and then you're off to the races.
Right,
You're on
exactly.
the
I'm
network.
just so happy that all my computers now are literally just appliances. I turn them on and I know they work.
That is nice.
And they do the thing.
Yeah.
Well, golly, there's some.
But we're always around if you want to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no,
You know, I could talk about this all day, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I love talking about the marketing and business side of things because one of the saddest things is like hearing about projects you love crash and burn out of nowhere because something was like one bus factor away. And you know,
that's a different problem, but very
Yeah.
related as well. Yeah, we definitely, yeah. That's why I'm like, Kyle, you need to start writing this stuff down. But we're doing a better job at that. We've actually, that's the kind of stuff we invest in to make sure that we don't. So that's why when we tell people no, like you should make this, and this, I'm like, nope, can't.
Technical liability.
People don't want to hear that, so you got to be the jerk about it, you know. But whatever.
No, it makes sense. I totally get it. So
and
thank
also
you.
marketing is a topic that I think we should spend more time on. And Prophetic and I can go back and forth with you if you want.
On dinosaurs? Are you going to talk about?
Well, yeah, can
Sure.
I just do a little venting on that?
Can we wait? Can we do a separate
On
call so like the
dinosaurs?
people who have to leave?
Oh, this is like
Well, you can if you want to stick around. So I'm just gonna do my housekeeping.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And then,
Yeah. Record this though in case it's good.
It is. It's on YouTube. Oh, we can
Okay.
record it also after this. I can do that too
All right.
if you want, or you can. All right. So real quick, I'm gonna do some housekeeping. Next week, news flight night. So any news topics you want to talk about that interest you. If you have any discussion suggestions or distribution, application, appetizer ideas or poll ideas, send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com or tag me in Telegram or Discord or myself or Eris, and we can put that on our list. Next week we'll vote on our next distribution. Was next week or the week after? I think next week we'll get the poll going, and then this way we have a couple weeks to actually get to it. So I did want to for a community free pour. Michael, do you still want not Michael Tennell, but the other Michael, the first Michael Sands Tennell? Did you
I am the first Michael. How dare you?
Yeah, he was around before I was.
Well, yeah, but not in the show tonight. So that's really how I'm rating it. It's
I mean,
you cycle the ranks every night. Otherwise, nobody has a chance to be on top.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So were you interested in talking about what you have going on still, or is it too late?
Let's save it for a different night.
Okay.
Let's save it for a different night.
Okay, we'll save it for a different night. So so Michael is a George. Michael is a developer. He actually makes games. And
awesome.
So we're going to talk about what he had going on. So if I can get him another night, that's cool. Totally cool. But anyway,
I'm sorry. Did we take up too much time?
No, see, the problem is me. It's not you. You should never apologize. It's me that has to apologize.
This was absolutely a
me
worthwhile
too.
conversation anyway. So it's completely fine by me.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus, we want to know what you think to build Bazzite GDX just for you.
Exactly.
See, right now, my
Kyle
devs-
would like to talk to you.
Yes, my dev stack, unfortunately, right now is so simple that I don't even. As long as I can install Emacs, I'm probably okay.
I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would not have as much to go, but I will definitely think on it and see if I can think of anything for him because I did chat with some of them before when they were looking for developer stuff.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Thank you.
I like that you use the term dope. It makes me really happy.
I agreed.
I do.
Dope needs
That's
to become
that's a
trending
cloud
to
native
callback.
term, Michael. Every time anyone's ever made fun of cloud native, I'm going to mention it because there's certain cultural things that are
That the youths
are purposely.
I'm very disappointed in the world of the cloud because no one has created a service or a platform or anything with the name Chance with Meatballs. Just seems
Cloudy.
Oh man,
You can create
right
your
there.
own
or
universal
a
blue
pun
image,
like
Michael
meatball
Tennell.
raindrop, meat drop or something.
exactly
You get
no
all
one
sorts of clever things.
disappointed in the cloud world.
Well,
There's always another universal blue image you could create. Just saying, it's an option.
Yeah, the magic of fork and from gives me the ultimate.
I would
freedom.
fork it and just name it that and be done. Like that's all I did.
I'll tell you what, Michael. The next time I need like an experimental image that I'll have around for only a few weeks, I'll I'll give you what you want.
Which mic are you talking to? Number 1 or number 2? I'm apparently number 2.
Tunel.
Oh, okay.
Michael,
Michael-
2 and 3.
Other Michael, game developer Michael, will just tell us how to build GDX, and then we'll just do something really wonderful, I hope.
Well, I will head off now. I'm being told by a girlfriend to go to bed.
Okay.
That's nachos.
It's been
don't
a
get in trouble.
pleasure talking to you all.
Yep. Thank you so
We
much.
Thank you for
Cultures.
joining us.
Now I get railed on by marketing.
Well, thank you for throwing the link in the chat for me to join and
Oh,
for
I'm
George
so-
to join.
I'm really glad you did. Thank you so much. Well, it is that time for last call. So this is where, if anyone has anything they want to say, like about a project they're working on. I think George, there's a project I guess you work on. It's called Bazzite. I don't know if there's anything else you want, like any parting words you'd like to share.
No, try it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I have one, and that
okay.
is if you ever consider to donate to a project that you like, don't think anything about the amount. Even a single dollar or euro or whatever currency is enough moral boost for a lot of developers to just show that there's someone out there that actually likes my project.
The fact that also thank yous are so rare.
GitHub stars.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
GitHub stars, just thank yous. Those are all going to be very appreciated. But if you go beyond and just give a single unit of currency, whatever that might be, it shows that you care so much that you're willing to do that. And it's people are like, oh, it's only $1. It doesn't mean anything. It definitely does. Even if you do it not even monthly, just one time, it's still go
it's
like
a giant morale boost.
yeah.
Hurt my announcement.
Well, that's fantastic. I know, Mr. Tunnell, I know you have a podcast that you do something.
Do I?
One or two or three.
Oh, I got 2 of them. Yeah, 2 of them. The third one is no longer active. But I also have some videos that I did this week. I released one for GIMP 3.0 and one for GNOME 42. So check those out if you want. And This Week in Linux will be coming out, I don't know, like an hour. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Depends on when I finish editing it. I decided to stop editing and come on here to have a chat.
I'm so glad you did.
I'm glad you dropped by.
Thank you.
Now you're going to teach me about marketing.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're my mini boss. Like I've waited for this challenge. I've been like grinding the dungeon.
I feel like I'm
because
the
you have one
final
of those
boss.
sculpted Unix beards, so you're like a different kind of. I have to approach you differently.
Yes, the sculpt is important. If you just neck beards, I could never do a neck beard, but this technically is part of the neck. But that's because you have to, in order to have a full beard, you need to do the neck part.
Refined gentleman.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm the distinguished version.
Distinguished Linux.
You have to stroke it distinguishingly, though. You have to do the.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Now it's distinguished.
Now I'm the final boss.
Yeah. I don't know, Prophetic, if you had anything you want to shout out before we to close this thing out.
Make Puppy Linux great again.
Okay.
Cloudify
All right.
it. Maybe, I don't know.
All right. That's fine. And then
That suggests Puppy Linux isn't great already. How dare you?
that does. Yeah, that does kind of bother me a little bit. And then Michael, I don't know if there's anything you want to shout out. I know you got some videos coming out here too.
No, I'm a lazy YouTuber. I don't tend to have as much time to do that, unfortunately. But in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I love that. That's
It's
beautiful.
nice to meet you.
And I have a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I have 2 co-hosts, Matt and Wendy, sometimes a Bill, and we chat about Linuxy things and our adventures and what we do. And I have a website called cubiclenight.com. I write things sometimes, so you can check that out, cubiclenight.com. So Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support. However you do it, being a part of the conversation, both the Zoom meeting and the YouTube stream, as well as for everyone for watching the show after the fact. I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yous.
It's so funny how